Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, John Sonmez here. I just wanted to take a second to thank one of our wonderful sponsors, Derick. It's no secret that I'm a big fan of Derick. If you're looking to launch your own startup, then you should definitely check out Derick App Builder. It's basically a cross-platform tool to create beautiful cross-platform mobile apps for iOS, Android, and Windows Phone using a really productive development environment. And it's a really cool tool. It uses PhoneGap and Cordova, a development environment, to create cross-platform apps in JavaScript. So you can use the skills that you already have to be able to build cross-platform apps. And they look really slick, really easy to use, something that I definitely think you should check out if you're interested in doing cross-platform mobile development. So check it out. Derick, you can get there if you go to derick.com/app builder.
All right, we're live.
And we're live.
Chuck is not quite the warrior as I am with my iPhone joining from anywhere. But.
Joining from the airport where we can hear all those wonderful flight announcements. And I almost didn't make it today as well. I flew back from Winnipeg, Manitoba on Wednesday, and I got all the way to Dallas, and stupid friggin' Delta Airlines got me there an hour late. So I had to run literally as far away as possible, corner to corner of DFW Airport, not just within the main terminals, but the sub-terminal that Delta uses off of Terminal E, which is like another 150 yards out into the middle of the tarmac. So I have to run across as much of DFW as possible, take the train as much as possible, get to my gate, and I miss it. And it was like 2 minutes late to missed it. And so I'm waiting there, and the gate person comes back up and, hey, I was supposed to be on that flight. Can you get me on the next one? She looks, nope, all remaining flights to Waco for today and tomorrow have been canceled because of the weather.
God. Oh, that's
holy cow. What weather? Is it snow? Or?
Yeah, there was a giant ice storm. Dallas got like a foot and a half of snow. Which is ridiculously large for Dallas. It melted the next day, but they can't do anything about it while it's on the ground.
Wow.
So I ended up getting a $300 rental car to drive myself home that night, and I got home Wednesday night like 4.5 hours late or something like that, and $300 cheaper. Best part about the rental car, though, the license plate had a license plate number FML.
Nice.
F my life. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
So I got home and I'm here, but geez, what a pain.
So I'm not a veteran traveler. So do you get refund on the ticket if you miss the flight?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure about that, but I didn't pay for the tickets anyways. So
okay.
The guy that paid for them, the conference organizer, would have to be the one to try and make that happen. And since he bought it for someone else, I have no idea how that would work.
Yeah.
But the way I see it, Delta Airlines owes me $1,300, $300 for the rental car, and $1,000 for making me miss picking up my son at school and not being able to eat dinner with him.
I think they will pay you for the rental car. They should have.
Yeah, but the problem is Delta got me to the airport. They just got me there late. So if they get you, and that was the last leg of my Delta. From there at DFW, I went on to American Airlines, and so Delta's like, nope, we got you to the airport, not our problem.
And you were technically there before the flight took off.
Yeah, technically.
So,
not
you would have needed to run faster than light to make it, but.
Screw you, Delta.
Yeah, probably not worth the fight.
Anti-sponsor of the year.
We're not going to have any airlines left.
Seriously. But it was a good conference overall. Winnipeg, Manitoba, it was like negative 20 Celsius the whole time I was there.
Oh, my God.
Plus wind. It was amazingly cold and snow everywhere. And, I had all my hats and coats and everything, so it was fine when I walked outside the few times I did. But it was pretty dang cold.
That temperature, isn't it almost dangerous to breathe?
Yeah, actually, it is getting to that point. The conference organizer told me, make sure you keep your face covered up, keep something over your mouth and nose, so that you can rebreathe warm air and keep out some of the cold and moisture. There were multiple times where I had icicles dangling off of my nose.
Oh my god,
it's pretty awesome.
Wow.
I just looked at it on a map. It's in Dakota. That's above North Dakota.
Oh yeah, dude, this is way up into Canada. That's way up into Canada, straight north.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But it was fun. I really enjoyed the conference. The city itself, it's just another city, but it was still it's fun to be in Canada. I like Canada. Yeah. And then I recorded my session. Of course, I sent you guys links to the videos, to the video I recorded on DerickBailey.com. Got a lot of really great feedback. A lot of people really appreciated the openness of what I was saying and all the stories that I told, and a lot of people in the audience nodding in agreement, and a few chuckles here and there for the horrible things that I've done, like crashing servers and deleting databases and stuff.
Yeah, it was a good talk. I listened to the whole thing when I was right before I left to go back, and yeah, it was real good.
It was fun. I get to do it again at the end of this month. I'll be down in Houston for SpaceCityJS, and I get to do the closing keynote. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit and focus more on the code side of things. Yeah. But it's basically going to be the same talk, just applying it to a general software developer life instead of strictly entrepreneurial.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, I think that'll go well.
So yeah, other than that, my week has just been trying to get caught up from being gone. I did a whole bunch of tweaks to Watch Me Code in the last couple of days. I greatly simplified the navigation again, so that there's only the one menu at the top of the site at all times. There's not a secondary menu up there anymore when you look at individual pages. And I split out full episode list, my new Q&A episode series, and then the series bundles, which is like the Pro Express series, the JS Fundamentals series, those different series. And then there's a free episodes at the bottom of that episode menu.
The Q&A episodes, are those free? Those are all free. YouTube videos where you
Right. Those are the ones up on YouTube that, so-and-so asked me this question and here's my reply to it. Which cool. Those are some pretty popular episodes. I think those are starting to attract a lot of attention and generate some interest in Watch Me Code. So that's been fun. I need to do some more of those tricks that what's his name told us for YouTube, though. I still got to go in there and put in, links to get to the next episodes and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. But slowly, one thing at a time, whenever I have time. Oh, I'm also starting to add episode length to the episodes on Watch Me Code.
Oh, nice.
The guy that runs Developer T podcast, it's like a 5-minute monologue that he does every week. It's a really cool podcast, actually. I really like what he has to say. So he helped me get WordPress configured so that I can add episode length as metadata to each episode post. And then I got Mandy from DevReps hired to go in and fill in the episode length for all the episodes. So hopefully she said she'll get to it this weekend. I don't think it'll take her more than an hour, maybe 2 hours at the most. Totally worth paying someone else to do it, though.
Cool. Yeah, I think you said Developer T?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just on that podcast
nice.
A couple of weeks ago or so. But
yeah, Derick, this navigation looks nice.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's nice and streamlined. I don't remember what it looked like before. But
yeah, it was significantly more difficult to find things, which is like one of the huge pieces of feedback that I got in the user research that Momoko did for me a couple months ago. So I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how I'm going to go about implementing these changes that have come out of that, and thinking, okay, I got to find a WordPress developer that knows Genesis and do a full site redesign, and while I am still going to do that, I'm talking with Momoko about overall site design, and I've got some leads on Genesis theme developers through some contacts that I have. I am going to go for a full site redesign at some point. I figure I should do as much as I can now, just to improve things immediately, and hopefully that'll give some ideas on direction for whoever comes along and does a proper theme design for me. It'll make it easier to communicate, and it'll keep my subscribers happy now instead of waiting until the all or nothing.
Because your site is lightning fast. What are you running? You're running Genesis, right? And then
yeah, WordPress with Genesis. It doesn't get a ton of traffic. I'm running on the $10 a month DigitalOcean box with WordPress and Nginx configured. No caching.
You don't have Varnish on there.
Varnish or anything like that going on with it. But I don't get that many hits. I think my average monthly right now is about 6,000 sessions.
Do you have the W3C caching plugin installed?
Nope. No. Zero caching installed.
Wow, that's pretty fast just with Nginx.
Yep. Huh. So it's just Nginx, no caching. I mean, it's just blog posts. There's no media serving happening on the site. All the media comes off of either Amazon S3 or YouTube. So the server doesn't get hit with media bandwidth or anything like that.
Right. Yep. No, that's really, really good. Yeah, it's fast.
I think at one point when I first launched this site, I hit 30,000 unique sessions within the first month and never once had any kind of slowness or hiccups, even running on the $10 a month plan like this. It's just, I keep my plugins to a minimum so I don't have a ton of extra junk floating around in the plugins and whatnot. I mean, I do have some hefty plugins like Restrict Content Pro.
Right.
But that doesn't get applied until you're looking at the individual pages. And even then, there's not a whole lot going on there, so it does load up pretty dang fast.
Yeah, yep, that's true. Yeah, it's pretty good. So, yeah, I'm looking at switching servers now. Well, I don't know. I've started the process. I'm always trying to get faster speed.
Right.
So I'm looking at WP Engine now.
Nice.
At the PluralSight Author Summit, one of my friends, Brian Lagunas, said that he just switched over and his brother works there. So I switched over initially to WP Engine to like their $250 a month plan.
Wow.
Which is like their business, which I'm on an $80 DigitalOcean server right now.
So wait, you're actually cut over to them already?
Well, I did, but I'm back on mine. So I just changed the A record back and forth. I just did an export. So
nice.
Migrating a WordPress install is not very hard. You just basically export the database and then copy the WP content folder over to like a new install and then configure it. So
WP Engine is down in Austin.
Yeah, it's Jason Cohen, right?
Right,
Smart Bear.
From a Smart Bear. And who's the other big name that's part of this? It was somebody a name that I recognize all the time, but I can never remember who it is.
I'm not sure. But the initial move over of my my site I didn't see much of an increase. I saw a slight increase in speed.
Right.
Which I realized that a lot of my speed problems are due to all the stuff that I have loading, right? Because I've got advertisements that are calling out to different servers and a bunch of other things that are there, JavaScript callouts. So that's I expect that, but I was hoping that the backend would speed up quite a bit.
Right.
Which it didn't really. So they're going to switch me over to one of their business class, like performance servers, not a dedicated server.
VPS. Nice. So that you weren't on the VPS?
No, because that's $600 a month beginning.
Holy cow.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I'm at the 250 plan right now. They're going to try me out on the 600. And then I was going to try, if the 600 plan worked, was fast enough, then I was going to try and negotiate something with them because of the amount of referrals I'd be able to bring them.
Yeah, totally.
Because I could bring them a lot of referrals. I mean,
You could update your blogging course to recommend WP Engine and.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably still like have a BlueHost and then a WP, but I'd have WP Engine in there as well, like to say that, okay, here's like, if you're trying to save money, go with BlueHost, but if you for their $25 a month plan is probably going to be worth investing in.
Right.
It probably still is for most people starting out, but I've got strange requirements because of my
right.
my blog.
So I don't really, when I was looking at this a while back, I looked at WP Engine, and I had heard at the time that they used to be really, really great with customer service, and they have been having serious growing pains, and their customer service has been awful. So that might be something to consider. I don't know firsthand whether that's really.
I've heard the same thing. I would imagine they're trying to turn that around.
It seemed pretty good to me. I've submitted a couple of tickets, and I did live chat, and they were extremely quick.
Okay.
So, I mean,
and they were knowledgeable. I think the rap I'd heard was that they were basically outsourced, and they were they were not knowledgeable about WordPress even.
I got some pretty good detailed responses. Like, it wasn't the level 3 support kind of responses, but I wouldn't expect that on the first go. But I felt confident they could solve my problem. I mean, I had to do the migration manually, which I wasn't too happy about because, but. Like Pagely does it for you if you. Which
I was gonna. Yeah, I looked at the different options that's available, and I was gonna go with synthesis.
Okay.
They have a VPS. I think they have a VPS for, either it's either the 147. I'm looking at the page now. They have a 147 and a $300 a month plan, and you get a VPS at one of those. I can't remember which. I don't think they have an affiliate program though. So if you the price is almost inconsequential if you can make affiliate.
That's the thing is like, see, I'm not really judging on price. I mean, I don't like if I do go with the WP Engine, like I would expect them to cut me some kind of a deal just so I'm not stuck on $600 plan that, instead I'll be referring so many, just like giving me a bonus on referrals essentially, but to pay for it. But the price within reason is not, a big concern for me because my blog generates thousands of dollars a month, right?
Right.
But yeah, I'll have to look at synthesis as well. I might test out a few of them. I just want to get the speed up to a decent. I mean, I just right now while they're switching me over to the premium servers, I just upgraded my DigitalOcean plan. I just resized it to the $160 box to see if that's faster, and it doesn't look like it's even much faster, like at least from the back end or from the page. So I don't know, maybe I'm just stuck with my plugins and everything. That I don't understand why my back end is so slow though on the WP admin. You would think it'd be super snappy, but
the admin, I don't think they do a lot of optimization for speed and performance on the admin side of things.
Yeah, it might even be. My guess is that it's probably, I don't know. I would guess that it's like more heavy, just heavier, doing a lot heavier work than just serving up HTML pages.
It also has to do all the anti-cache stuff. It makes sure that you never have any kind of caching on the data that it's pulling down. It's also a backbone application, which means you're going to end up pulling an empty shell essentially with an initial render, and then Backbone is going to be doing API calls all the time to navigate and to pull data down and things like that.
Well, the thing is, like, if I'm running on a beefier server, it should have sped it up, is what I was thinking. Like, based on that, right? So. Well,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'll have to investigate it, but I don't know. I mean, so far, there's definitely some advantage with using WP Engine, which is that you don't have to manage all that stuff.
Right.
But then as I started to weigh it out, I was like, well, but I've already got like caching set up in DigitalOcean. I've got kind of, the thing set up. So if I'm going to pay like a couple $100 more, like on that $80 DigitalOcean server, like just looking at $8 DigitalOcean server versus $250 WP Engine, then, the question is, for that amount of money difference per month, could I just have someone help me optimize my stuff, or
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to spend the extra couple $100 a month for a period of time, having somebody do this kind of work for you, then it's probably worth it. Is this something that your assistant can be trained to do, or is this too specialized at this point? Or
well, I mean, this is kind of a one-time thing, right? Because my DigitalOcean setup is running and working, and it's working fast. So there's not really much that needs to be tweaked there to get it. I mean, I'd like to get things faster, but it might be limitations of my theme. It might be limitations of what I'm trying to do. So then the question would be, would it be worth paying the extra money to just have, WP Engine? I don't know, to have them managing the site, but it might be that they handle a load better. That could be possible. But I do have a feeling that the $160 DigitalOcean box would probably handle a load pretty dang well. So yeah.
Right. How was your site doing when you were getting crushed the other week? Was it slow at all?
It seemed like the page, like serving up pages, wasn't very slow. I mean, most of that comes from cache. I have Cloudflare and I have Max CDN. So like most of that stuff isn't going to even, like the images and stuff is not going to even feel anything. It's just going to be on the WordPress database, which again, I've got W3 cache in there and Varnish. So the CPU did eventually, hit like 95%. So probably it hit some kind of max. I don't know if it, but I didn't see any major slowdown. So yeah, but I think again, upgrading to the $160 machine would probably solve that problem. I don't know how much more capacity it would allow, but
yeah, when I was looking at it, the main reason I just didn't want to be bothered with the hassle of maintaining the sites.
Right.
But it turns out I have two. So I have, for a client, I have two like really old PHP sites that I built that would have to be put somewhere. So to get off my Linode. Yeah. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just ended up doing a bunch of cleanup work with Brian from Data Porters and feel a lot better about things. He got me cut over to Nginx.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Speaking of, we need to get the EntreProgrammers site on Nginx.
Yeah, I've got it on my task. We also need to update the theme.
Yeah, the theme is breaking over time. There's all kinds of janky rendering.
It's broken, right? So the guy, the Appendipity guy, he sent me several emails since I purchased the theme, and he said that you have to reinstall the theme because I have a new version, so, and you can't do an in-place upgrade. So you have to actually delete the theme and then re-upload the theme.
Okay.
So that's the only reason why I haven't done it yet, but it keeps getting pushed on my list.
I think I'm kind of wondering if we should find a new theme. I mean, this one's okay. I guess we're not really taking advantage of what it does offer, and we could hopefully. Well, let's start with getting it fixed, I guess.
Yeah, and see what it looks like.
Yeah, and see what it looks like, and go from there.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'll have to look at that synthesis, Josh. It looks like their enterprise plan is only $300 per month, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the difference is as far as like the speed. When I look at their charts, it's like they have checks in every single thing on every column. But it shows the memory, like I guess at 8 gigabytes in total storage, backup storage, monthly bandwidth, which is kind of low for that.
I got the highest. I mean, they seemed like to be the best recommended of all the options when I looked. A few months ago. So, and I'm using a Genesis theme, so if you're not, I mean, I think there's some advantages there if you're using their service and their theme. So
really?
Kind of optimize their theme for their service, I think.
Right. But I'm also using a Genesis Studio Press theme on DerickBailey.com, Watch Me Code, and Signal Leaf, and they're just really well written themes to begin with. Super optimized for speed and everything.
Yeah, I love it. I like mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I'm
they're
not
super
using
flexible
Genesis.
too. I love being. I mean, adding the episode length ended up being create a custom field for the post, and then go in and add a couple of lines into the themes functions.php to create a short code, and then I added the short code to the post meta. I mean, it was actually pretty dang simple to do once that Cottrell guy from Developer T helped me figure out what I needed to do. He actually did most of the work for me, which was kind of awesome. So I gave him a free subscription to watch me code for helping me out. So thanks, yo. That was pretty awesome.
Nice. But yeah, we'll see. I'll figure this out. I mean, it's not like I need to mess with this, but once I was talking with
Right.
with Brian at the Author Summit, then it, so. But yeah, it's just frustrating that it's like, I mean, I've increased the speed a lot, but it's still not. I want it to be kind of lightning fast. I feel like that would make a difference, but maybe I will have to switch themes yet again.
You could always go to a static site, John.
Totally. Just
have your intern
Jekyll or something.
have your intern port it all to Jekyll.
Exactly. There is a WordPress to Jekyll migration tool.
Why can't I go to a static site? It's because I need to track cookies for pop-ups. Is that why?
Well, I mean, I'm completely kidding. It seems like it would not be worth it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could go to a static site, I would, right? Because it would be super, super fast. But
yeah,
I don't think that is really possible. I think
you'd lose a lot. You lose all the flexibility.
Yeah.
So you have to make your own pop-ups and.
Well, no. See, my pop-ups are coming from a JavaScript. I'm using opt-in architect.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And it's just a piece of JavaScript that you drop on a page, and then it
for now, that's what you're using.
Yeah, until you switch again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but it's working pretty well. I mean, I like the idea that it's not a WordPress plugin, that it's just JavaScript you drop on a page.
Right.
Yeah, that's how Sumimi works too. That's what I'm using.
Yeah. And there's and Discuss works the same way, doesn't it? Essentially.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had Discuss on static sites, WordPress sites, and other content management systems as well.
Yeah.
You lose all your pretty URLs you've created. You'd have to.
No, if you go to Jekyll, the migration tool will keep your existing URL.
No. I mean, like.
Oh, your pretty links.
Yeah, pretty
for your book, you'd have to recreate all of those links from your book manually.
You lose tracking on that.
Right.
I don't know. There's a lot.
It's not worth it. It's you got too much going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I'll have to think about it. I just want it to be fast. Dang it.
Right. Simplify. Get rid of features. Organize things better.
I know there's not much I can get rid of really, because like a lot of the reasons that slow me down is because of the ads and the and things like that, and having drip and optimizely and all those things on there, which
are those as third party, like very last. Make sure that you're loading them asynchronously and at the very last part of the page.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, which I am. I mean, it's so. But yeah. Anyway,
I'm using all that stuff on Watch Me Code and most of that stuff, anyways, and it's not slowing down much.
Yeah. Well, maybe I need to get that guy. Do you think, Josh, that the guy that you're using to do your stuff, that he would be able to optimize a site like?
He's not really a WordPress guy.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's told me that. So. I've had him do some stuff, but he's definitely not like a WordPress optimization tuner.
I can get you in touch with some people that can do it. I know one guy fairly well who is more the backend WordPress stuff, like membership based stuff. But he's already told me that he'll get me connected with people that are phenomenal theme developers. So I'll get you in touch with him.
Okay.
And he'll be able to refer you to someone based on everything that you need.
Okay, because I've had a few people that have tried to optimize my site, like one paid service, which I had to get a refund because it just couldn't.
It's like the Dragon's Lair, there's like all these skeletons and like scorched shields leading up to it.
Yeah.
how many years of experimenting and throwing different ideas at it. Honestly, I think that's why Watch Me Code is so dang fast. Is because I've only ever done one thing with it. I don't have years of other ideas and experiments and features that I have to continue to support.
Yeah.
So there may be something for, not hosting multiple WordPress sites on one box, and also for splitting out some of your older stuff into separate sites on separate servers.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Simple Programmer runs on its own box.
Okay.
So the other stuff runs on, combined, but
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I have to think about it, figure this out.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've had multiple people that I've had, paid services to try and optimize. But I'm at the point where I know a lot more than the experts, right? Because I've set up
right.
X and
you've done it so much.
Yeah, so it becomes it's very hard to find the person.
Right.
So, but yeah, let me see what else. So I went to the Author Summit this last weekend, the PluralSight Author Summit.
Yeah,
which was that was awesome. That was really, really awesome. I wish I would have went the last couple of years because it was definitely worth my time. They basically treated us like royalty. We were stayed at the Grand America Hotel in Salt Lake City, which is like one of the nicest hotels there. It's like $250 a night for a room there, so they put us up there. We had to fly. We had to pay for our own airfare, but aside from that, they had when we first got there, they did like this whole red carpet thing where everyone was cheering for us as we walked down the red carpet, and I guess it was orange carpet because of PluralSight. Like at the PluralSight office, and the PluralSight office is full of employees now. They've grown so much. Like when I first started at PluralSight, it was like 10 employees or something. I was like I think I was like the 12th author in the that had ever signed up, and now there's like hundreds of authors. So which was kind of cool. So I didn't realize that being like the 12th author or whatever number I was at PluralSight, like one of the original PluralSight authors, and having created the most courses in the library had made me like a legend at PluralSight.
You're like number one, getting the crown as you walk in, and the fanfare music going, and
But it was crazy because all these people kept coming up to me and it's like, it's John Sonmez, and I was like, what? Because if I go to like a code camp or something, I kind of expect more of that, but I didn't expect among PluralSight with all the kind of famous PluralSight authors and stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of PluralSight authors became authors because they listened to my courses or they saw my blog posts. So like there's like this whole group of maybe like 20 or 30 authors.
You got these little groupies, man.
John's running around. That's so cute.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was honestly really, really cool. Like I never seen something like that before. Like, and then different and then within PluralSight, right? All the employees, like, everyone kind of knew who you were because they'd gone through like my courses, and people had talked about how I was doing like a course a week and stuff. So
yeah, you were mentioned a countless number of times at Prairie DevCon and Winnipeg. There were a number of other PluralSight authors there, but even from just standard conference goers, you came up a lot.
Well, that's cool. That's
pretty awesome actually to hear that. And then I actually had a little bit of the groupie thing going in my talk as well. Right before the talk, there's this group of people sitting in the front row, and I'm listening to them chatting at each other for half a second before I get started, and I hear one of the guys say to the person next to him, "Just ask him." And so the person next to him asks me, are you Derick Bailey that created Marionette? Like, yeah, I created that. I don't really, do a whole lot of it anymore. I kind of turned it over to another team, and they're doing some awesome stuff with it. And the guy in the middle there looks at me and said, "Oh man, I thought it was you. This is so awesome. I love Marionette.
Nice.
I'm starstruck right now of realizing that this is you sitting here." Like, all right, cool.
Oh Oh man, so cool.
It's kind of cool to be like a mini celebrity.
Yeah, I'm like a D-list internet celebrity.
in the specific, but see, in the specific place, you're like the superstar, right? That's the cool thing. It's like, but then it's like, you know, you go to a restaurant and no one knows who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you know who I am? I created Marionette. Give me my food faster.
That's funny. But yeah, it was cool. Like, you know, it was definitely a pretty cool experience. Like, I didn't expect that, like, you know, at the PluralSight. And a lot of the authors, you know, I didn't realize, like I said, I didn't realize that I was like one of the first authors. And so like all these people came in, you know, afterwards and stuff. So we had open spaces where, you know, I led a couple of open spaces and talked about like how to create courses, you know, be super productive. And those went really, really well. And so, yeah, and there was, you know, pretty big crowds to those open spaces. But I talked to a lot of people, like just met a ton of people that I had, you know, known over the internet, but I hadn't really met in person, but which was really cool. Cause I was basically, I'm surprised I still have my voice, cause I was just talking the entire, like I couldn't go anywhere without, you know, at least talking, you know, someone coming up to me and us having a good conversation. So I made tons and tons of connections, just, you know, and great connections, because these are PluralSight authors. So
right.
Yeah. So that was really cool. That was extremely beneficial. Like normally when I go to a conference, I talk to a lot of people, but they're not, you know, it's not like, you know, everyone you talk to has their own audience. Whereas with PluralSight at the Author Summit it'll have a much greater effect than just.
There's leverage.
Yeah, exactly. Super leverage.
You've
right.
got,
I talked to
a bunch of JV partners there.
Yeah. I talked to Peter Kellner, who runs the Silicon Valley Code Camp, and he wanted me to come and do a talk this year on career stuff, you know, on soft skills. And he knows what's her name? I just forgot her name for the number one book. I lost the book now. Gail.
The Cracking the Coding interview book.
Exactly. Yeah. He knows her really well, so he was going to make an introduction. So
sweet.
Yeah, so that's
hopefully he
cool.
remembers her name.
Yeah. I for some reason I always slip names, but yeah, and I also, I'm trying to think who else there was just a lot of really good connections. I finally got to meet Chuck in person.
Yeah, nice. I saw the tweets
which is
about that.
Probably why he's not here today.
Right. It's like, oh geez.
Yeah. But I went I finally met Ward Bell in person.
Yeah.
We went for a 6 mile run together.
Nice.
The cold snow. So we went on this run, right? Because like when we first got there, the first day we were both on the treadmill running in the morning, and then so later on, you know, in the week, I ran to him again, and he was going to go for a run. I was like, hey, do you want to run outside? And he's like, yeah, I don't like the treadmill. So we went, you know. Neither of us were really prepared for winter running outside. So he actually had shorts on.
Oh geez.
Oh gosh.
And I had just these windbreaker, you know, and whatever. So we go for our run, and it's getting, while we're running, it starts raining, like cold rain.
Oh.
It's like ice rain, you know, bleeding on us. And then we're standing at this at the intersection waiting for it to turn green so we can run like on our way back. Right. And it's getting kind of cold out there. And I mentioned to Ward, I was like, oh, it's getting kind of cold. Like we picked the wrong day to run, huh? And he's like, no, it's great. He's standing and he's dancing and he's going, Jamaica. And right after he does that, this bus comes by, and it just hits the puddle. It just covers us entirely in dirty ice water.
Oh man,
both of us from head to toe just soaked.
That's an animated GIF waiting to happen.
Yes, it is.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, but
that's
it was
amazing.
Fun. But yeah, the whole thing was really, really cool. They had like I said, the open spaces. They had, you know, all these cool dinners and casino night and all kinds of fun like activities for us and stuff. So you know, and like I said, just meeting so many people, so many cool people was really worth the time.
It's pretty cool. Because that's like a group of doers, right? That's like that's like one of the best groups you're going to find, probably. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yep. So I finally got to meet people like Julie Lerman, who had talked to on the internet but not really met, and finally actually the founders of PluralSight, Aaron Sconard and Fritz Onion and Keith, and so that was pretty cool, like to go and experience that. But and I think a lot of good things are going to come forward from that, just because making those kind of connections is really good, and especially in person, right? Because a lot of these people I knew on the internet, but when you meet people in person, it makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then let's see. And then I did right before I left the hotel, I actually did a webinar with Dan Martel. So
nice.
Yeah. So he was interested in. He's interested in growing his audience, and he knew that that my audience was had a lot of entrepreneurial type of people in it. So we basically did a webinar. I sent out the email like last Friday to sign up for it. And I thought he was just going to do the webinar, but he had me host the webinar and then ask him questions and stuff. So it was a joint webinar.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. Like, to get associated with Dan Martel is pretty big deal. So that went really well. Actually, we only had 100 slots in the webinar, and that completely filled.
Nice.
We had to turn down a lot of people because it within the first couple of minutes, the entire thing was full. So so
Sweet. How many people registered for it from your list then?
I don't know. I think Dan had said somewhere around over 300 or so.
Okay, that's a good turnout then.
Yeah, it was a pretty good turnout.
It's a good turnout ratio of people that signed up to people. With the webinar I did with Sean, we got about 1 in 6 people actually.
Right.
Yeah, but and it helps too. Dan Martel's a pretty well-known guy, CEO of Clarity and whatnot. So I'm sure that helps. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool and now hopefully, I've got kind of a rapport with Dan, so that's pretty cool. Like he's definitely a guy that has a lot of good advice. So
right,
and good connections. So
that's great.
But yeah,
how did you like the webinar format?
I did it a couple times before, but I like it. Because you can just go off on a topic, right? It's not as restrictive as perhaps giving a presentation normally. It's a little bit hard though, because I used to, when I talk, I like to get the feedback from the audience so that I know where to go, know. So I try to more perform than give a talk, and so it's hard to do in a webinar. So
right.
But
yeah, when I do talks, I like having the audience interaction and feedback, but I don't really do a whole lot with it, honestly. If somebody asks a question, I'll answer the question, but most of the time when I'm standing up there, I'm going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And really giving a talk, whatever it is, technical or not. And at the end, take a lot of question and answer. It's not that I mean to not have interaction with the audience. It's just not the way it ever comes out. Even when I purposely try to get audience interaction, it just never works for me.
But yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think. Oh, and I told you guys about the BlueHost upgrade.
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so now I get more money per referral, which is great.
Nice.
So just had to ask, which I expected that they would probably say yes, considering the method that I'm using to advertise and what my conversion rate is something like over 30%.
Wow.
Clicks. So I doubt they see conversion rates that high very often.
Right.
Yeah.
So that means that those people are going to be it's a lot of people that advertise for BlueHost do spammy type of advertising, referral or pay-per-click type of things, which they don't like. So Yeah, so that makes a big dent, because I think I was pulling, like, on February, my BlueHost referrals was around $1,500. So, by increasing that amount, that's significant. So
Sweet. And that's just, so you're still just advertising that course on Twitter, right? Like that's the only.
Let me think about it. So
what else are you doing with it?
So it's
pop-up, right?
The pop-up, yeah. So yeah, between Twitter and the pop-up is essentially where.
And you just have it in your rotation with Edgar?
No, I've got it pinned. I mean, it's in the rotation, but it's a pinned tweet and it's my profile link. So both of those. If I look at like new subscribers, I need to set up an if IFTT for MailChimp to automatically put them on Drip. Or maybe it might require Zapier, but I should be able to have a MailChimp subscriber automatically go over to Drip, right?
Yeah, like Drip does that for you. There's MailChimp integration directly in Drip.
So when someone subscribes to MailChimp, they'll automatically subscribe to Drip?
Yep, that's how I started.
I need to do that because I have plenty of people that are still subscribing to my MailChimp. And so every month I've been exporting them and importing them because I've got all those guest posts out there that are like.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'll the Drip integration with MailChimp will do that for you. That's what I started with when I was first converting over to Drip. I just okay, let me keep all my MailChimp forms up there, but when you sign up, you'll get put over into Drip.
So, John, you said guest posts. Are you just sending them to like a MailChimp hosted form?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing that anymore, of course.
Yeah, you're kind of stuck. You could probably use the free MailChimp account if you're not
already.
Oh yeah, I've got my MailChimp account paused, so I'm not paying anything. But it still lets you sign people up. But I need to automatically have them sign up on Drip when they.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, if that plugin works, like you said, Derick, then that would do it. That integration. So, yeah, I'm seeing about on average about 50 subscribers per day.
Nice.
So that's pretty good. The email is becoming overwhelming. I've got Doug is working on it.
Scale.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it does because Doug is working on it, but I've got to get him I don't know. I got to figure out.
He needs auto hotkey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because most of it's simple answers, right? That you can just
right.
You can answer for me. So he's getting a lot of that done, but yeah, it's at this point it's going well. I mean, the course is working well. Like I said, I'm getting a couple thousand in BlueHost affiliates, and then How to Market Yourself is selling about $7,000-8,000. I think last month it did over $8,000.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's definitely worth doing this. And even if I had to hire people to just answer email, it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, I talked to the CEO of Code School when I was at the PluralSight Author Summit, and he had some really good advice. He was basically telling me that I'm an idiot that just hire people.
Right.
He's go and hire someone to do video, like a videographer that will just shoot in post-production your video every week, and hire a full-time. Oh, this was a really good tip. He said, are you doing any kind of paid advertising? And I was like, no. I said, I know it'd probably be profitable, but I've got to figure out how to do it and get that all set up. And he's
hire somebody to do that.
Yeah, he said if you're making $10,000 a month right now, just hire someone for $5,000 a month, give them a $5,000 a month budget, and then they're going to turn that into $30,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, don't learn it yourself. Just get someone that's an expert at pay-per-click advertising, and just have them set up campaigns and test campaigns, and you've got something to sell that, so.
Right.
I don't know. What do you guys think that's right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, if I had, well, honestly, I should probably be doing the same thing for my stuff, especially now that I'm selling these screencast bundles.
Yeah.
With Watch Me Code, I need some way to bring in larger amounts of audience to be able to really grow this thing.
My take on it is that there are a lot of different platforms out there, and you're like, even to master one is going to take you a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know for you, like, I don't even know what the best platform would be. I mean, Facebook is good, but Facebook has been getting really strict lately and like banning people. I'm hearing a lot of people just getting banned. They're about as bad now as Google, basically, in terms of banning people. And you're screwed. Like, they're actually less willing to work with you than Google is once they ban you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other advertising options out there. So even if you got really good at one, there's like so many other ones that you're never gonna. Yeah, I would find somebody. I don't know if you'd have to hire them full time, but find somebody who's got, people in house that can do multiple platforms. So you can experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, because I need someone to do the whole thing. You know what I mean? And it's not really a skill that I need to know. Like, I think entrepreneurs should learn copywriting. I think that's an important skill. I think there's certain skills around that make sense.
It teaches you to think, right? It teaches you to think in a way that's useful as an entrepreneur. Like pay-per-click advertising is kind of like a technical skill.
Exactly.
That doesn't have as much bleed over, I think, into other areas.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like if like sales and copywriting, which are very closely related, are skills that if you have those skills, you can make money in whatever environment. Like the tools are, might change, but those two core skills are things that like are critical, and things like, being able to speak and stuff like that, be able to understand a few of the different mediums and how to communicate a message across those mediums, or writing, so written word, spoken word, those kind of things. But so yeah, okay, I'll probably look at. I got to figure out how to find the person though. That that's the difference. Yeah,
I mean, I've got some connections I could think about who would be the best person to send your way.
Okay.
I can get you some names.
Yeah, the Greg Pollack, the Code School CEO guy, he was very adamant about. He's like, well, you should try to hire locally if you can, because then you work with these people and stuff.
Well, I mean, I for me personally, I'd rather for advertising. There's so many people that just know the platform but don't really know how to use it effectively. That I would be looking for recommendations and not restricting locally.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I don't run a multi-million-dollar company, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But
yeah, I don't know. It's hard, but I mean, I know I need to I with Simple Programmer, I'm at this place where I know what my problem is, and I just need to get good at fixing it. Which is my problem is that I can't scale. Like right now, I've got like hundreds of emails and. Like I've got like my to list just keeps on going up, and that's with someone working part-time helping me. And I haven't even sent out an email for Friday today. Like, so it's like, there's just so much stuff to do now. And if I can get the right systems in place, like I have to basically pause now and say, okay, I'm not trying to expand at this point. I'm not taking on new projects, which I haven't had the bandwidth to do for a long time. And I just have to say, what I need to do now is just systemize, hire people, and get people taking care of these basic things as much as possible, so that I can devote my resources to new things, which it's just so hard to do. But.
Yeah, well, and the nice thing about advertising is it'll give you a way to scale up without adding to your to-do lists at least as much.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So,
yeah, because
that's content.
Yeah, and that's the key, is because once you get, like, if I could get advertising working where I'm paying someone and they're able to, run the campaigns, then that increases the bottom line enough where I can easily hire other people without worrying about the finances.
Right.
So, but yeah, so we'll see. It's a struggle though. It's really hard, I think, to get to this next step.
Yeah.
But I can't grow much past it. My goal is to get Simple Program up to $100,000 a month in revenue, which that's going to require having at least a few people on my team.
Yeah. So. If I were you, I would also be looking at getting some coaching, like some serious coaching, because you're at a point like there's like the $100,000 to $200,000 level. It seems to be a sticking point.
Yeah.
And like I've seen a lot of people that just could not break through that until they got like some really, really high caliber coaching.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I should look into that.
Because a good coach that's gone through this before is going to be able to tell you not necessarily what you need to be doing, but what you should stop doing. The things that are holding you back from being able to break through this. That's
right.
It's one of those things that's it's going to be obvious and why didn't I think of that? But those are the kinds of things that you never think of yourself because you have too much personal insight into all of these. You're too close to everything, and having that third party that's gone through this before, somebody that's not so tightly connected to everything that you're doing, they'll be able to look at what you're doing more objectively and say, yeah, look, I know you love this, but if you stop doing that, then you can focus on this, which is going to go boom.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I've had some coaching, but I probably need to find a good like coach to stick with to kind of help me grow past that.
At least for a while to get you through the current plateau that you're sitting on. And then once you skyrocket up to the next growth, then the coaching might not be as necessary for a while. And it's a series of plateaus and climbs. It's never a one-time fix it and be done.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard. Like I've also had those thoughts of quitting again. Like,
yeah,
it's like it didn't help to. I tried a prescription for Adderall for ADHD, and I just got off of it now. I was on it for a week, and I didn't notice enough of a difference to help me focus to make it worth it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if this is possible, but I think I was already suffering withdrawal symptoms from just a week of using it.
Wow.
Because it's an amphetamine. It's just like speed, right? So it's the same thing. So like I slept this morning like until pretty much up until this call. Like,
wow.
So I'm definitely not touching that stuff again. But I don't know. I've been thinking about just what if I just walk away from this? but that happens every once in a while. I think it's just because, like I said, I'm at this sticking point. I'm like, well, I don't know if it's worth the effort to try to get past it. And
you're not going to get past it by working harder. I mean, you're
right
maxed out. Your RPMs are redlining.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's getting harder to put in the work, right? Because it's like, you get to that point where it's, so I don't know. But
working harder is definitely not the answer. I think Josh is right about getting a coach to help you see what you need to stop doing so that you can focus on the right things.
Yeah.
Like maybe a life coach for software developers.
Yeah. If only there were somebody like that.
Yeah, and actually that will give you a lot of insight too. Like you're starting to do some coaching yourself now. So,
right.
Like I've seen that. Like just being, I've one of the things that I've been doing is I've been listening to coaching calls from other people, and that's actually really helpful because you kind of see the process that people are walked through and.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I can, it's like, I can give advice to someone to tell them what to do, but in your own situation, it's more difficult, right? Because you can't see the things that are blocking you. And part of it, the reason why I've delayed too, is because I know what I need to do. Right? So I want to get those things done first. Like, like the answer is going to have to be like hiring the right people, getting some of this, because that's what anyone that I talk to is going to tell me. And that's what I know has to be done. So I kind of want to make sure I get that done first and then figure out where to go.
This episode of the EntreProgrammers is brought to you in part by the Derick platform at derick.com/platform. The Derick platform allows developers to build, connect, test, and deploy cross-platform mobile applications using nearly any approach, web, hybrid, or native. With tools like the App Builder to create mobile apps with HTML and JavaScript, control suites for Windows, Android, and iOS, and powerful management tools like Telerik Analytics and App Manager, you're sure to find what you need. With powerful tools of the Telerik platform, the UI tools, and so much more that it provides, you will be able to create outstanding user experiences. So check it out and try the Telerik platform today at telerik.com/platform.
If that makes sense.
Well, I mean, I think that as far as getting a coach, I think that there's probably things that you need to stop doing before and not just hire someone to do them. I think there are places that probably just need to drop.
Yeah, you don't want to hire somebody to do X and then your coach says you shouldn't be doing that at all. You know?
I guess that's true. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's a few things there's things I could drop, but but it's hard to drop anything that's like, well, I mean, like when you go through that list, right? It's like, okay, blogging every week. That is critical. That obviously can't be dropped, right? It's like, and then you go like YouTube videos. Do I need to do 3 YouTube videos a week? No.
You stopped doing those for a while. What happened to that?
When I stopped?
Yeah, you were like, I'm done with YouTube. And then like a week later, I'm doing it 3 days a week now.
It's because I figured out I could do like some webcam ones, and I was like, oh, this is super easy. And then when you look at the growth, right? Every time I look at my YouTube channel, I look at the 30-day analytics, right? And it's always 40% growth or more. And so it's pretty foolish to stop something that's growing at 40%, like month over month.
Yeah.
That's, what I mean? Like, if that started to peter off, then that would make sense. But
so, I mean, like one thing to think about here is that like you've got a bunch of things that are getting you growth.
Yeah.
But like the advertising is the thing that could actually like exponentially grow you. Like we're talking, so YouTube might be, incremental growth, but then there are other things that you could do that could be exponential. And I think like looking for the exponential things and dropping, even if they're working, if they're preventing you from doing something that gets you 10 times more growth, then they probably need to go.
Yeah.
If you can't do it all, and you can't.
Yeah. The only problem though is like some of those things that would give you the exponential immediate growth are things that don't have the long-term growth, right? So like it's impossible to replicate having 250 YouTube videos, right? It only can come over time, over doing, right? You might be able to get, a lot of people to watch a YouTube video, but having a back catalog of YouTube videos is something that you can't, right? It requires you to build that thing. And there's a huge value. So it's, what I mean by that is it's a value that can't be replicated very easily. So if you put in the time and the effort to do that, then it puts you at a distinct advantage. Like you cannot, you cannot buy that, right? You can't, if you had money, you couldn't.
Right.
It's something that's intangible. Same thing with.
I mean, arguably you could though. I mean, you can't buy the content, but you can essentially, if you were able to get an advertising campaign going that was giving you 300 subscribers a day instead of 50, well, now there's all kinds of things you can do with that, right? I mean, like then you come back to the YouTube stuff later, and now you've got, an email list of 100,000 people that you can send to your YouTube channel. I mean,
that's a good point. Yeah. That's
so.
True.
Yeah, I mean, it's yes. If you're only buying clicks to send people to read your blog posts, then that's not really long term worth anything. But if you're buying an audience basically, instead of scratching an audience out of the rock by making YouTube videos every week, then there's value. That audience is going to be there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
all right. Well, some things to think about.
Yeah. This is pretty cool, though. You're like poised, This will be really interesting to see where this goes in next year.
Yeah, if I can hang on, that's the hardest thing. It's like just hanging on to because it's I keep on reflecting back, and I'm like, am I really doing what I want to be doing right now? And it's like, or am I just doing this because of success? and sometimes, sometimes I enjoy. I mean, I definitely enjoy like going to conferences and talking to people and stuff. That's the most enjoyable thing for me now. But a lot of the day-to-day work is not very, very fun. Not that I think that things have to be fun, but at some point, it's like I said. I mean, we've had this discussion before, but it's like, where do you get off of the treadmill? It's like,
right.
When you start hiring people to walk the treadmill for you.
Yep.
That's why I want to get to that point, right? Yeah. It's like if I were to just say, screw it now, I'm fine. I'm just going to retire or whatever, permanently retire. Then I would not. Then that would be a waste. Like at least get to the point where you have people walking the treadmill for you, like you said, and then see how you feel. Like then you have bought your time. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, what's your schedule looking like these days? Are you burning the candle at both ends, or?
It's not like ridiculous. I mean, with the gym and hitting the gym and running, that takes up a definite chunk, right? So then, then during the day, I've usually got. I mean, it's been crazy just because I've been interacting with so many people and like doing things for book promotion that's still ongoing. And I've interviewed on like how many podcasts in the last. I mean, it's been crazy. So, but in general, my schedule is like get a YouTube or get a blog post done. I usually don't have to do YouTube videos because I usually queue them all up. So that usually gets recorded all at like one time, and then writing the weekly newsletter to the to my list, and then usually I'm trying to think what else is in there. Recording Get Up and Code episode, doing this EntreProgrammers, and then whatever else, like all these little pieces of things that I can fit in there. So. And it's not, I'm usually not working well, a lot of it is actually email, right? So then that's a big chunk of it. So that's what I've been trying to outsource as much as possible. But like with that blogging course, there's a ton of email.
Right.
So
are you more or less at 40 hours a week, or?
I'd say that's probably pretty close to what I'm doing most weeks now. I mean, it's hard to say though, because sometimes I don't tend to count stuff like answering email,
right?
But that is technically working, and it takes a lot of time. So
yeah,
right. Cool. Hey, I can't wait to see where you land.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The good thing is things are growing without I haven't really done much productive stuff in the last week and a half, but it's still. I'm at a point now where that email course was the best thing ever, right? So because that just ensures that things just continue to go.
Right.
So, what about you, Josh? What's going on with you?
So I purged my list this week.
Oh yeah.
I pulled the trigger on that, and it seems like it's been So I did that. I deleted about 10,000 subscribers. So I went from the last email I sent was I had 72,706. I'm looking at Drip here. And this one I had 61,469. So it was about 10 or 11,000 subscribers. And we'll see. I so far definitely pulled my click rate up a lot. I'm up to this email. I think this email, if I'd sent this out last week, I probably would have been in the 28 to 30% click through or open range, and now I'm already up over 35. So
nice. Oh wow.
Yeah. So there were a lot of there's some dead weight on there. That should lower my drip bill by about $50, I think, a month. Yeah, so that'll help. That was so actually by the way, Drip now has account export, so you can back up your whole account.
Oh really?
Which I do monthly. Yeah, I was doing that monthly with MailChimp. Like you just export the whole thing as a zip file.
Nice.
Now, what's the point of doing that? Just in case,
so that you don't lose your email. Yeah, I mean, if Drip were to fall into the ocean or something, or their servers, I don't know, some kind of nuclear event and takes out Drip, we'd all be sad. But also you lose your emails. So so you get all your emails. You also get the actual emails that you've sent out, right? It includes the email messages, so you could rebuild if you needed to. I just like to and I did it because I wanted to have those 10,000 people somewhere if I ever decided to go back for some reason. And I think I ever would, but I could restore them if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a nice feature.
Can you automate that? Do you have that automated, or?
I don't. It's like a one-click thing in Drip. It would be nice if they would automate it. Actually, we should probably
just a Dropbox folder.
Yeah, Dropbox folder, or just send you an email even or something,
Right.
To let you download it. That would be super cool. So this is now the official Drip. Like Drip's actually implemented features just based on us requesting them here.
Yeah, a number of times.
So this is like the official bug report.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool. I am going to be doing. So Craig Mikichi and I are going to be doing. We're going to do the an offer for his JavaScript book next month.
Nice.
Well, I guess this month in March. So that will be the next deal that we're going to do. We're going to do the same deal, webinar and everything, and I'm going to try to coach him on the emails and like what we're sending out. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very, very, very curious because this should be a great fit for the audience. And if this does not go, then I don't think I'll be able to use this list for a lot of affiliate type stuff. This is a pretty much like this should be like a litmus test for whether this strategy will work for this list or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of stinks that you can't get traction on this thing. Like,
yeah,
it feels like you should be able to make a whole lot of money off of this list, but
yeah, it's I don't know, like it's pretty responsive. It's funny. It's like it's definitely responsive. I remember like I was wondering when I first did the import, like whether I'd gotten a bunch of developers from like, poorer countries that weren't going to be able to afford to buy expensive info products.
Right.
But when I pulled them into MailChimp, it was like 75% US. This is definitely US based.
there's still this element of people that sign up for free stuff that, I mean, even US based that.
But I mean, like, how is that really that different than signing up for like a free ebook or, I don't really see it as being that different.
Well, the contest mentality, right, is definitely, I don't know, there's obviously something here, right? Because, I mean, you would tell someone that if they had a list of 70,000 people that they had better be able to make money off of it. So I mean, you realize the value of having that many people on a list, right? Like,
right. Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
but it depends on the topic. It really depends on the topic, and this is a very very niche down. This is not like 75,000 software developers. This is 75,000 fans of Sublime Text, right?
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of them are
developer.
Writers. Yeah, there's a mix. Yeah, there's definitely some writers. There's academics in there. It's an interesting mix of people. So, and I mean the open rates and the click-through rates and everything are decent. It's definitely responsive lists, at least as far as that goes. But we'll see. I don't think I'm going to be able to give them a lot of unrelated stuff, but maybe if it's super targeted to like web developer type of stuff, I can make that work.
Yeah. I mean, I guess also, as you're saying, is if you keep on getting good open rates and click rates, you're growing rapport with the list over time, so they should become better, essentially. Right.
Well, I don't know. Like I've heard from a lot of experienced people that if you don't get somebody to buy, like if you're building a list and for a specific offer, if they don't buy within 90 days, they're never going to buy. And if they don't, I've even heard 30 days. Like if they don't buy within 30 days, it's going to be really tough to get them to buy. So that's why, I think it's important to at least to pitch something early on. Maybe not right out of the gate, like we were talking about on the email list, but definitely people need to know that you're selling something early on. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we got for that webinar, we got pretty good turnout. We got about 650 people signed up for the webinar to hear more about it. And then we had almost 100 people show up and actually go through the webinar. So I just think it was a mismatch with the web designers, with designers versus developers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how many did you have purchased after the webinar?
I'm not sure what the total number was, but it was definitely, we made about $2,000. It was lower, or no, I'm sorry, we made about $1,000.
Yeah.
So, and it was much lower than we were hoping for. So.
Okay, because I mean, just from a numbers perspective, if you got enough people in the webinar and your purchase rate was, it might have just been that you didn't like. What were your expectations as far as, not from dollar amount, because you can't control dollar amount, well, not directly, but what were your expectations for people to sign up for the webinar?
I was happy with the turnout, actually.
Okay.
I was happy with that. I was just expecting a lot more people to buy on the back end.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
So, I actually think the percentage of people that bought during the sale or during the webinar was actually pretty high. If it had been that high overall, we would have done pretty well. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it. Not quite given up yet. But
maybe there's something that you can test that would just test if people are buyers or not. Because I still am thinking that there's this mentality of people that just always go for free stuff and never spend a dime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right. And I think you might have collected a lot of them just with the contest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could test that by selling something really cheap that's very Sublime related. That's
interesting.
And then you could see, because if
like
someone
$1,
on like
99 cents,
or like I don't know, whatever it is, that's something that's obvious that's obvious value, that's worth buying. And if they won't buy that, if they're like looking for, I mean, because you know those people, right? That it's like iTunes is like 99 cents for a song, yet they're still using LimeWire or whatever to like download free. I'm like, I mean, I understand when I was in college and stuff. Yeah, I downloaded free music, right?
Yeah.
And from time to time, I'll download a movie now, not because I can't pay for it, but because it's not available, right? But if something's available, I typically buy it. But there are people that will scour the internet to save 99 cents. Like
they'll spend 20 or 30 minutes to save $1.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how much money they make or what if they're capable of buying. They're just like that. And if you have segmented the Sublime audience into that segment and picked up a huge chunk of those people, it's just going to be like an uphill. But like, you got to figure out if that's the case or not. I'm just from what you've been saying over time, I'm really starting to suspect that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but you could test it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't really. I had a lot of problems selling to this audience when I was growing it organically with Google traffic.
Right.
And this is not really any different than what I was experiencing back then. If you remember, I mean, I tried all kinds of stuff. I tried sending emails I sent an email every day for 30 days, pitching the book before the contest, and I basically barely even nudged the needle at all in a month. So I think that there's a mentality. Like, I think that part of the problem is that, I mean, there's a ton of people that use Sublime that never pay for it because it's got like an infinite free trial.
Right.
So I think the universe of people that like Sublime and are willing to invest in, in learning it more is pretty small to begin with, versus the universe of people that are interested in Sublime.
Right.
So, and then the people that are willing to pay money for stuff who are interested in other things is a subset. Like, it's a pretty, I don't know. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I mean I can see that, that's true, but it might be just an affinity for Sublime is also attached with a disproportionate amount of people who don't pay for things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
just like Android, right? Same.
Right, Android or Vim. Like, I don't want to do a Vim book because those are the people that think Sublime is, that he should be run out of town for charging for software. So.
Right.
Good luck getting money out of those people. Now, there are people that have made products and have made some money with it, but it's not like full-time income kind of money.
Yeah.
Right.
Buy pizza money.
Because like someone who has a list of in a lot of places, a list of 10,000 people, is enough to make a 6-figure income.
Yeah.
Well, that's all you need.
It really depends on the market. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
Yeah. I mean, 10,000 people interested in internet marketing. Yeah. I mean, that would be killer.
Right. Yeah. Or like the financial, I suppose, or fitness.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. And it's gonna be kind of a lot of work because Craig doesn't have the infrastructure. Like Sean already had like a webinar put together and the emails ready to go and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna be kind of feeling our way through a lot of this.
Cool. But yeah, that's one of those things, once you figure out how to do it and get that down, then you can do it again.
Yes.
That's one thing I don't have. I don't have a good webinar system in place, but I would love to get one in place.
Yeah. The other thing I think we need, like I'm going to try to work with Sean, with Craig on, is to try to do a little bit more selling on the webinar. Because there's definitely like a structure that you need to follow. And we didn't really do much selling on the webinar with Sean. So developers are going to be really touchy about that. But I think like you can get away with a few minutes of it and you should definitely do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You absolutely have to. I mean, that could have been, I don't know how much you did. So, I mean, you got to give them a bunch of free information first, but then it has to lead into a sales pitch. That's very much a sales pitch.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll give that a shot. See what happens.
Yeah.
But so that was cool. What else this week? So I have not heard back. So I don't want to disclose too much about my thing this week. But I did. So I got. It looks like all 4 of the people that I asked to. So I applied for like basically a copywriting gig. It's like a part-time deal with a well-known marketer, internet marketer, and so I got all 4 people, I think, who I asked to speak on my behalf to email this guy. So I knew I'd gotten at least 3 of them had told me they were going to do it, and then I heard back from the 4th this morning, and he said he was going to do it.
Nice.
Yeah. So that guy was the guy from the Copy Hour program that I did, where we were handwriting out the ads, like handwriting classic ads every day. And so I took a photo of the stack of legal paper when I was done with that, and it was like 3 inches thick. And so I saved that photo and I sent it to him, and I was like, hey, if you know this guy, if you have a relationship with this guy, would you mind, recommending me as someone who went through your program? And so he fired back. He's like, holy cow, that looks like my office. And I'm totally going to forward this to him. So that was cool. This morning. Yeah. So, and then he also got, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask, wasn't there some lumpy mail in the mix here?
Yeah. So I sent that on. So I FedExed him, this guy, a box. So he's into soccer.
Right.
And he had a story on his website about how he was into soccer and how like that kind of shaped his character and that kind of thing. So I did soccer when I was in high school, and I was tiny. I was like the classic kind of 97-pound weakling.
Right.
So I wrote a story, like a sales letter, like a 3-page letter about how I played soccer in high school, and how I was just like, basically my strategy was to throw myself under these guys' feet, because they were like 6'1", like these guys 6'1", like 180, 190, like big muscular athletic guys. And there's me, I'm on defense. So I opened the letter by saying that the coach took one look at me and just immediately put me on defense. And oh, by the way, that coach was my dad.
Nice.
So basically my strategy was just like, I'd throw myself under these guys' feet and oh, oops, I tripped you, and just like kind of just take the pain. And it worked for me. So I kind of used that to say I'm determined, and like this is the kind of work ethic I'm going to bring into this kind of thing. Because I think he's probably going to get a lot of applications for this, and probably some pretty qualified people. So
what else was in the box other than
a soccer ball? So I sent him a soccer ball with the letter in it.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I went to FedEx it, and I wanted it there by 10:30 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, he's like, I can get it there ground and that would cost you $15. I'm like, how much to like overnight it? He's like, let me check. $105. I was like, I'll shift it around.
No, I had to pay the 105.
Well, no, it didn't. I didn't think it was going to matter that much. I don't think the timing would make that much of a difference.
The timing shouldn't matter in this case, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because they were just closing the applications yesterday.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So
you have. I mean, like I don't want to like pre whatever, but you have to get this job. There's no way that you don't get this. I mean, for high profile people, copywriters, like saying your name to this guy, plus a lumpy mail showing up with a story that's related, that shows you did your research about him.
Right.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, how would you hire someone else? Really? Like, how would you?
Yeah, I mean, unless you've got a really close personal relationship with somebody else, and they're a known quantity.
Yeah.
But then in that case, you wouldn't have put out the app, right? He's obviously searching for someone, right? You would just hire them. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, maybe I'm being a little bit premature here, but honestly, like if I just put myself in that situation, right? How would you not hire this person? So, and that's perfect. That's exactly what you have to do, right? You did you did a slam dunk here. I mean, you've put it in this spot where we're not it's like, oh, well, I've increased my chances. It's like, how could you not hire somebody?
Yeah.
That's, I mean, if you can turn a situation into that, then that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I expect to at least get kicked to whatever next level there is to talk, to at least talk to the guy. And but this really underscored for me, like, just how valuable the networking I've been doing is. And I haven't really even been doing that much of it. I just like, there's people that I like, I find the people that I like, I sign up for their email lists. And then when they say something I really appreciate, I email them back and say, this is great. Thank you for sharing this. And that's basically, I've done that with like, there's actually probably a couple more people that I could tap, but I don't think I'm going to at this point.
No.
But it's like, it's amazing. I was like, holy cow, I know all these people that know this guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, they know who I am. Like, not just like, I know these people know him. It's like, I've gotten enough emails back and forth with these people that they recognize my name and they're at least comfortable saying, hey, this guy seems decent. You should check him out.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I have no idea. I don't know what the process is going to look like, but it seems like they want to move pretty quick. So I might be able to at least, start writing for him pretty soon.
Yeah.
If he were to go ahead and pull the trigger on me.
Assume that he's listening right now because everybody else is.
We've been seeing some massive growth with EntreProgrammers.
Yes, we have. It's been pretty awesome. I think our 6-week average is over 1,300 now.
Yeah.
Wow, sweet.
I'm pulling it up.
Oh, by the way, at the PluralSight, there were tons of people that coming up and said, "I love EntreProgrammers. I listen to every episode." So,
awesome.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, it seems like we have a pretty high quality audience. A lot of people, a lot of movers and shakers.
Yeah. So we're at 67,000 total downloads. Waiting for.
That's a pretty big jump just in a couple of weeks. I think last time we looked at this, we were at 60.
Yeah. I think it's like 1,200 6-week, like something around there. Like
I accidentally hit refresh on the page.
And like last month we had like I want to say, was it over 6,000 downloads?
Oh man, we're at 1,400 for the 6-week average.
Wow,
that's pretty amazing. And our 30-day RSS subscriber history is at 763 right now. A couple of months ago, it was like 450. So we've had a significant jump in our RSS subscribers and in our 6-week average.
Oh, check this out for a quick hack. So I have a lot of PluralSight links on my blog, right?
Okay.
So my wife was asking what she could do to help, like with simple programmer, like tasks or something like that. Now that she read The Millionaire Fastlane.
She gets it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was like, well, we got to go. We got to get on the fast lane.
Nice.
Right. So I said, well, let's I signed up for the affiliate program for PluralSight. And I was like, well, let's convert all
nice.
those links. Just search through my WordPress database and convert every single link, because I'm getting like 60 clicks a day on PluralSight. Someone has to be converting. We're waiting for that. So they only pay $12 per sign up. But she did it last weekend, and we're already at $84.
Wow.
So this will probably be an extra couple. Yeah, it's like $200, maybe $300 a month is what I figure.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So just, money in your pocket, no extra work. So, or, one-time work for it, but
yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mentioned on the subject of affiliates, I mentioned, I recorded a screencast this morning on RabbitMQ and a specific feature of it, request reply scenarios. And in the middle of or toward the beginning of the episode, I'm talking about what request reply is and how RabbitMQ facilitates it. And so I've got the ebook of Manning's RabbitMQ in depth up in the screencast.
Nice.
Reading, essentially summarizing and paraphrasing the different sections of the book that talk about this feature and letting people know how RabbitMQ facilitates this. And so I've got discount codes and an affiliate link for that book that I'm going to be sending out with this episode. So people that watch the episode, oh, hey, great book. Here's a link. Go buy it. Get 40% off. But then I also get an affiliate commission from that as well, which will be pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. It's cool to be able to maximize use that. Look at this leverage, right? It's like,
yeah, totally.
You're already doing this thing, so you might as well increase the value you get out of it. So
right, and I'm going to try and hook up. Well, I'm going to get a discount code for Cloud AMQP as well, which is where I host RabbitMQ for Signal Leaf and other things that I do. They've already told me that they'll get a discount code to me for my audience, so I just need to follow up with them on that and make it happen. So all kinds of subscriber benefits going to be coming down for Watch Me Code, and that kind of leverage is going to make Watch Me Code even more attractive to people, because I'll have a section on the website eventually that'll talk about subscriber benefits, and it'll list all of these different benefits that you get, and I'll have the blog post for these benefits available for the public to read, but the actual benefit information will only be there if you're logged in as a subscriber. So that way people can read about it and, oh, hey, there's a lot of value provided here, and hopefully that'll be attractive.
Yeah, I think so. I mean that helps to have those extra things, incentives that are worth it. It's like the entertainment book, right? Like, do you guys buy the entertainment book? You should buy it every year. It's $6, right? You know what I'm talking about, the entertainment book?
I have no idea.
Okay, so it's this little book you get that it's full of coupons. They make them for your local area, different entertainment books. So if you go to, just do a search for entertainment book, and you'll find it. So this is such an ingenious thing, and I buy it every year because it's like $6 for this book full of coupons, and a lot of the coupons are like, get 50% off your meal or buy one get one free for like tons of restaurants, like all local to your area, right? So when you buy this book for $6, all you have to do is use like one coupon in it, and you've gotten more than your money back.
Right.
So that it's almost like the same thing. Like you can create that kind of scenario for Watch Me Code, where it's like, well, if you subscribe for Watch Me Code, well, all these other additional bonuses you're getting are worth more than the price of Watch Me Code. So it's totally worth. You see what I'm saying? Like the closer you get to that point, the more of a no-brainer purchase it becomes.
Right.
And that's like, for me, the entertainment book is just a no-brainer purchase. Like, I don't even think about it. Like, I will use at least one of those coupons. Usually I end up using like 5 or 10 of them.
Right.
So it ends up saving me a couple $100 for like a $6 investment.
Nice. Yeah, and that's actually an important point there. A lot of people, when kind of stepping back into the business world for a moment, when I was working for various companies and trying to justify the cost of things to my bosses, one of the biggest things that I realized in doing that through the help of one of my bosses is that you're not necessarily doing something to earn money. You're also doing stuff to save money.
Yeah.
And so if you can pitch coupons as a way to save money, the cost of that book, you'll save more than that. Well, okay, that makes it worth it. And I've done the same thing for justifying the cost of servers. I had that email a while back about how I spent $75,000 during a budget freeze, and I did that by examining the cost of the issue that we had just ran into, and how this purchase would prevent that issue, and how it would save more than that much money over the first year, even if we didn't have that particular problem again. And so that could be an interesting way to an interesting form of pitch for Watch Me Code, like you were just saying, or for other products and services that other people are thinking about doing. It's not how much value will this thing generate, but how much will it save you. And if there's somebody out there that's doing Watch Me Code, that's doing RabbitMQ and needs to get up to speed on it with Node.js, then the cost of that monthly Watch Me Code subscription is going to be more than paid for with the coupon that they'll get for Cloud AMQP.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and you've got a couple things playing there. I think one is that like it's easier to claim that you'll make money on something,
right?
But like when you can actually demonstrate, like savings is a little bit more easily demonstrated.
Yeah,
I think it's easier to believe for people.
Yeah.
And there's also the fear of like people will invest more money to save money.
Right.
I mean, they'll like spend money to not lose money more than they'll spend money to make more money.
Yeah, because spending money to make money is a hard thing because there's always risk involved in that. But you can very clearly demonstrate, look, it's A plus B. You're going to save money if you spend this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. We're so someone I talked to this guy. Remember when I referred that customer, the new egg, to do training to that guy Wes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, he was at the PluralSight Author Summit.
Nice.
And we had a nice discussion about
the guy that you referred.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he is very much into value-based pricing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had this interesting discussion with this other guy and telling him all about value-based pricing and how it works. And he had some good books. He had that book from that author, the one that you were just praising, Josh. The $1 Million Consulting. Yeah. He had another book from that author. He said, let me see. He said anything like I was asking him for more resources that he recommended. He said in the area of value-based pricing, anything by Alan Weiss,
yes,
and Ron Baker. That's what he said.
Okay. So was he talking about pricing like development services or products or what?
Development services. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That kind of goes back to the discussion we were having. Like, is that something that's possible for developers?
It's like I said before, it's something that certainly is possible, but there's such a stigma around the cost of IT related services, including software development, that nobody does it, so nobody is willing to do it.
Right.
I run into that with my big client all the time. We could be making millions of dollars a year off of the savings that we generate from them, and they would still be saving money. And they never want to go for it. We're either pitching it wrong or they're just not interested.
It might be a combination of both. I mean, he's definitely been successful with it, and I talked to a lot of other developers that have been successful with it. Just and Brennan Dunn's stuff, right, on the Double Your Freelancing, right, is all about value-based pricing, and it's all targeted towards developers,
right.
And it's it's a matter of the approach of getting to the right person, like going up the chain to the business person, the decision maker. Because if you talk to the IT person, they're used to staff augmentation and they want to hire you for X dollars per hour to do specific tasks. But if you go up to the CEO of the company or the controller or someone who actually is interested in the profitability of the company or the cost savings, and you pitch them something and you examine their problem and say, look, here's the deal, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, here's how I can save you money. Like, and you price it out and you figure out, okay, this is the real business problem that we're solving for you. And we're going to do it by creating software, but this is essentially how much is this worth to you? And then, and then it is possible to charge $10,000 or $20,000 a week. Will you bill yourself weekly for that?
Yep.
For that time, because you're showing but it's definitely more challenging. It's definitely a different approach.
Yeah.
And you're definitely not going to convert someone who's already paying you hourly into this.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Not
definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it seems like the entire sales process just has to be different. So you're not going to be able to take the same sort of funnel that you're using to generate hourly work. And Alan Weiss's book is all about like establishing long-term relationships with people.
Right.
To the point where they just know you, and they're willing to pay. They're willing to trust that you can deliver.
Yeah.
And they're willing to pay whatever you ask.
Right. Because obviously, right, for even for us at a small level that we're at, right, if someone approaches me with value-based pricing, I'm totally going to bite it if they pitch it right, because if you could show me a way that I can save money or make more money, then I'll pay you a portion of that, like guaranteed. And usually most people are looking for a 10x factor, right? It's like, and that's usually fair. I'll gladly, if you can show me a way to save $100 a month, I will gladly pay you $10 a month for that, right? I might not pay you $50 because then the risk is not worth the reward, because there's a chance you won't come through. But I'll gladly pay you the 10 out of 100, and I'll happily do it, right? Even if I could have paid you $1, right? Hired someone to do it, for $1 out of 100, I'd pay someone 10 if they can, pitch it,
right?
Yeah,
and it seems like you have to be a lot more selective who you work with too. Like I think you can get a lot more volume if you're willing to just quote prices up front.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I'm actually planning for my freelance copywriting stuff. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I think that initially, so Bob Bly, like the conference that I'm going to be going to, he is like, you email him about his copywriting services, and he sends you a packet with his price sheet, and it's got, he's got the ranges on there, and you can kind of see where you're going to fall, and it's totally like, I'll quote you the job up front type of approach. Yeah. And I actually think that's how I'm going to start. Like, I think because it's just too much, like I have too much else to worry about to spend a lot of time like nurturing relationships right up front.
Right.
And then as quickly as possible, I want to transition, I want to try to transition away from that. But I want to get my feet wet, and I want to get some success stories and stuff.
Right.
I can talk about.
Another really cool approach that I forgot where I ran across this, but it might have actually been a local entrepreneur here when I was at a code camp that was talking about this. But essentially, this idea of is how you write those proposals, and you write up statement of work and all that stuff, and then it might get rejected, or you waste your time, right, doing this kind of that legwork. Well, you can charge for that. So
yeah.
But you don't charge for that. You charge for a product that you create, which is an analysis. Like, let's say that you're going to do, copywriting for someone. You could do like a sales funnel analysis for them, and you charge them $500. You deliver them a 10-page report that shows them where their weaknesses are, where you could make improvements, and what your suggestions are. And then at the end of it, you could tell them, hey, this is worth $500 by itself. You can have me implement the things from here, to do the work, or you could do it yourself, or you could take it to someone else. But you're paying for this product that I'm producing, and then you're actually getting them to pay for the discovery process, as opposed to you footing the bill, which is normally the case for most consultants.
Yeah, Perry Marshall calls that a discovery contract. And you can apply the cost of it towards the bigger project if they go with you.
And that's an incentive to go with you, because they've already invested. Now you've already caused them to invest.
Well, it's like when I take my car to the mechanic. I take it to the Honda dealership, and Honda dealer says, okay, it's going to be $90 just to look for the problem. Okay, here's the problem. You can spend the $90 to know what the problem is, or we can apply that $90 towards the $400 that it's going to cost to fix it.
Right.
It's the same deal there. And most of the time, I say, okay, go ahead and fix it. there's been a few times, honestly, where I say, "Oh no, I'm not gonna pay you $400 to fix that. I'll either live with the problem, or I know with certainty that I can fix it myself for $100, and I'll go do it myself and pay the $100 and for them to discover the problem, and then still save $200 out of the process."
Brake pads?
Yeah. Let me see this. Put these on
I don't need
backwards so
those.
they shatter.
And most consultants are in the opposite, right? Because if you write up a proposal, if you spend 5 hours of your time, writing up a detailed analysis and then making your proposal for them, and then they come back to you and they're like, yeah, that all looks good, but your price is too high.
Right.
And now you're invested, right? And so now
that's
take
true.
the cut because you have already put the time in. Instead, make them put the time in. If they've paid $500 or $1,000 for this thing, then they're more likely to take your deal as opposed to. Yeah. So
the way that Alan Weiss talks about doing proposals is pretty ingenious. Like the way his proposals are 2.5 pages max.
Yep.
They're basically they're almost like a sales letter.
Yeah.
Because he starts like I forget all the sections, but the first section is like a statement of the problem.
Yeah.
And then the next section is a statement of here are the results that we're going to produce.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like some boilerplate stuff, and then there's like 3 options, and they're all valued like they start with the highest end package, which is everything, and then they subtract value as you go down.
Right.
And most people, like 50% of people, take the middle package, from what he's seen. But he gets like an 80% close rate when he gets to that point, and he's not committing himself to he doesn't really even commit to specific deliverables as much as possible. He says he makes it vague enough that he has flexibility in how he actually implements, goes after the results that they're agreeing they're going to achieve.
Right, because that's what you want. You want to go after the results, not the implementation.
Right.
Because the implementation might be completely wrong.
Right.
The idea, so many people want to jump straight to the solution without really understanding the problem first. And even if you've taken the time to do that discovery up front, you still might have a misunderstanding of the problem, and you're certainly not going to understand all of the details yet. Right. You'll know more than you did before, but pitching the results gives you the flexibility that you need to adjust midstream because you're going to need to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And even then, you can't really totally promise the results, but what you can promise is what you can, you can say if your leads, how many leads do you get a month? 10 leads a month. Okay, if I made your website faster, by 50%, would you agree that that would probably increase your leads by, can we say 5 leads? Oh yeah, okay. So obviously there's a risk involved in anything that we do. I can't guarantee that you're going to get 5 more leads, but I can guarantee that I can increase your website by 50% faster. Mm-hmm. So is it worth paying $10,000 for us to take the chance on this with a pretty high probability that you think that you're going to get 5 more leads, from this analysis? And then you're committing to the thing that you can commit to, which is that you can increase the website speed because you can measure it by 50% more, but you can't ever commit to saying that I'm going to get you more leads or make you more, but they're taking a risk, but it's a calculated risk. And so then you're moving that burden off from you to them.
Right. Yeah. I would like to hear more about what he's done.
Yeah. It might be worth having him on sometime because he had a lot of good stuff.
I'd be in favor of that.
Yeah. Something else, just before I forget. Do you guys follow Neil Patel's stuff?
I don't follow a lot of people's stuff anymore because I don't have time. I like Neil, and I've followed his stuff in the past, though.
So I installed this WordPress plugin called Transposh on my WordPress site that basically gives you translation for a bunch of different languages. Ooh. So I've got all of my blog posts translated into 12 different languages.
Why is my site slow?
Yeah. I installed these 27 plugins last week, and why is my site slow?
Well, this shouldn't affect anything because it's
running a regular expression on every word and checking it against every language known to man and Klingon. Why is my site slow? I don't understand.
You take the hit once when you produce the extra post, the extra translation. So It uses like Google Translate to do this.
Okay.
So
Does it store them locally then in WordPress?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So it shouldn't take any hit on that. But I went into my SEO tools, right, and the webmaster tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my pages that are indexed like jumped ridiculous number, right? Because everything is now translated.
Oh, interesting.
So it'll take some time for that to translate into more search queries and clicks, but I'm pretty sure that that's going to make a significant impact.
And every last one of those translations, somewhere in the middle of it, there's some statement like, yeah, some stupid white guy used Google to translate this. I'm actually a robot writing this for him.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But no, it went from like total indexed on 222 of 2,027 pages to total indexed on 3.1 of 18,314 pages.
Nice.
Wow.
So I mean, we'll see how it works. I don't know if it makes sense to me, right?
John's site delisted by Google.
Tank.
Boom.
But doesn't that? I mean, that it makes logical sense, right? You would have now people.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what, if anything, you can do with that. I mean, I guess if the traffic is coming from mainly from foreign language people, that would be, might be difficult because you're going to communicate with them in your emails and everything in English. But I mean, if you're just getting more traffic overall, even from regular Google traffic, that would be a plus.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, some of that will translate. Some of them would be coming over because you're ranking higher in their local search engines.
Right.
Even though they know English, right? It's finding things in their language first, right? So that that's one possibility. The other one is that some of the advertisements and stuff that are are still going to apply and get clicked or whatever. And
the Shah of Iran is going to be after John for like inappropriate advertising.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But I don't know. We'll see.
That's cool.
Something to try.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys. What's your thought for the day?
Man, I've been trying to rack my brain for the last 2 hours trying to think of something.
I haven't thought of anything. I'm just going to come up with something right now.
Well, I'll go. I actually made myself a reminder so that I think about this ahead of time.
Nice. That's
Pro
a good
tip.
idea.
Pro tip. Actually,
Your pro tip right there was think about it.
Yeah, think about things ahead of time. I use followupthen.com to send like anything that I want that's like a task that I want to get reminded about regularly. That's not something I want on my calendar. Because I hate fold socks or something on the calendar. That just drives me nuts because it's clutter. So this just shoots me emails when something's due. But anyway, so my thought is just do nice things for people because like that this week that has just completely paid off for me. I mean I was I have been forming these relationships thinking I'd like to work with these people someday. And it's not like completely selfless, but I've been just sort of trying to give to them as much as I can. And now my plan this week is to send out physical gifts to all these people. At least the one guy the copy hour guy, he's overseas, I think, so I'm not sure if I can reach him. But I've got gift ideas for the other three, and I'm going to be sending them like physical gifts in the mail because that really, if you really want to get in touch with somebody, like sending them something physical is so much above of an email or a tweet.
Right.
Yep. Totally agree.
All right, I got one.
All right.
I guess it would be just show up every day. It's kind of what I talked about in my presentation at Prairie DevCon. The end result when you get past all of the emotional roller coasters is the realization of how much work there actually is to do and how infinite the work is and how you just got to show up every day and eventually it'll turn into something.
Cool. Mine is live by the sword, die by the sword.
All right.
I was thinking about, I just saw like this thing on Facebook where like this Indian rapist was like pulled out of prison and beaten and and get murdered. And I thought, like, a lot of people were cheering it on, and I understand why they would cheer it on, but if you support that kind of thing, that's how you'll end as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you live by the sword, die by the sword. Like, it applies. So, and it's not just, you know, on that serious tone, but just how you act, how you treat other people, how you know, kind of, you know, piggyback on what Josh said is how that you will end up as well. So you can't hold one set of values, you know, and not expect to be judged by those same set of values. So
right.
Yeah. Cool.
All
On
right.
that sombering note.
Talk to you guys next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Yep.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code? Listen to the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developers.